thought it was just an appropriate time given my age, really young enough to do several different things. So I thought that this was a good appropriate time to try something else.
After nearly 31 years with the City of Murfreesboro, Transportation Director Dana Richardson is retiring. The 52-year-old Wilson County native studied electrical engineering and began working for the city in 1985.
When I started working for the city, the population was about 37,000 in the City of Murfreesboro.
Today, the city's population is around 124,000. Traffic signals alone have grown from 44 to 144.
When I started, I purposely started to work with the traffic signals because we had just bought them out. The City of Murfreesboro did from the Murfreesboro Electric Department. We paid $103,000 to buy the 44 signalized intersections from MED, but the purpose of that was to try to better implement and apply engineering principles to the signalization, try to do more for the efficiencies of the signals as relates to the traveling public and so forth. And over the years, we've gone from a lot of old electromechanical machines to very sophisticated systems now.
Modernizing the city's traffic control system, Richardson helped implement a new closed-circuit TV camera system.
You can see that behind me. We implemented that in 1998 and I think started out with about 13 intersections. We have 32 cameras around the city now. And this was not just to be able to see the roads, but it was in fact in addition to the signal program, whereas we can remotely see what's happening on the roadways.
Operators can change traffic signal timing from the operations center, then see the results instantly.
Our CCTV system, for instance, was the first in the state of Tennessee to be implemented at all and be incorporated into a traffic signal and use that as a philosophy for trying to improve traffic operations.
Richardson credits a forward-thinking city council in the late 1980s and early 90s for helping spearhead the new approach to traffic congestion.
I think it's definitely made a big difference, and it's low-cost differences. Timing changes, once implemented, can be done on a daily basis, can be done on a time of day, and they're very low cost as opposed to construction-based type of solutions to traffic congestion.
Construction-based solutions have been required. I-24 has added interchanges.
When I first started, we only had 2 interchanges, being at I-24 and 231 and I-24 State Route 96. We've since added several to that mix, and that is a function of forward transportation planning and trying to get
required Richardson and his team to get ahead of growth by planning projects a decade in advance, so proper funding is secured.
So if you see a project on the City Council agenda that is going out for bid and we're recommending an award of a bid, sometimes these have been worked on 10 years before the things ever become really public and really are into the implementation stage.
Even before the public recognized something needed to change at the Broad and Memorial intersection, Richardson and TDOT had started in 1996 to study alternatives to the busy crossroad. Most widening solutions wouldn't last beyond the 25-plus horizon, so a longer-term solution, an overpass, was adopted.
It takes more time now to develop any project, especially in the state and federal funding realm. There is a lot of regulatory and procedural type of things that have to be undertaken that we not necessarily do on a locally funded project. So part of being able to use the federal and state money and to minimize the input of local funding sources, whether it be property or sales tax, the trade-off is that some of these projects do take longer.
Richardson also started Murfreesboro's first fixed route mass transit system in 2007, better known as Rover. Ridership has increased every year with 280,000 trips currently.
So it's been incredibly successful, and this was I think something that Mayor Bragg at the time was very much instrumental in supporting and putting forward, and charged us with implementing the system, and we've done that. Our first buses that we bought were 16-passenger buses, and the ones that we finally upgraded to after the original ones had reached their minimum useful life, we upgraded those to a 21-passenger bus. So as our ridership continues to grow, we'll keep looking at that, and if we need larger buses, then the time to do that would be when the new purchase rolls around for more equipment.
Even before Rover, the city had entered public transportation in 1996 in partnership with RTA.
We entered into an agreement with the Regional Transportation Authority to fund trips back and forth to Nashville. This was really done in the conjunction with the widening of I-24 from 4 to 8 lanes back at that time.
In 2012, RTA expanded from 16 trips to 31 trips a day to and from Nashville. Now, with the city's growth adding to congestion on I-24, talk of a monorail system is picking up steam. Growth and traffic challenges require transportation planners to get ahead of the curve.
Thompson Lane and Cherry Lane and Braidwell Pike are really good examples of what I was saying before, is that I've been working on those for years. Those projects have been in the development phase. We were doing interchange justification studies. We were doing transportation planning reports and the things that are required to actually get from point A to point B in project implementation. Once you decide that a roadway is terribly congestion, it's over capacity, you've missed the boat.
Updating the city's major thoroughfare plan requires expanding the horizon beyond 2025 to 2040.
I think the biggest change in the transportation industry over the years would be the multimodalism aspect of transportation.
The federal government started to connect funding with the willingness to move away from vehicle-centric networks.
We started our first bicycle program back in 1995. In fact, the first bike lanes that were put on the road in the City of Murfreesboro were actually River Rock Boulevard. And since then, we've added many miles of bike lanes on various roads.
The Greenway is another transportation system designed to increase walking and biking as an alternative to automobiles.
I think that at that point in time, there were people that were somewhat skeptical about building a Greenway system. I could probably count myself amongst those. I am very glad to say, in looking back, that I was probably wrong at that. That has been extremely successful.
Bike lanes are being added to new widening projects on Thompson and Cherry Lane as part of the city's long-range interconnected transportation system. But Richardson says the biggest challenge has always been funding.
The funding has been something that has recently been exacerbated. It's something that's really become a public issue now. Recently, the governor and the commissioner of the Department of Transportation have been traveling around the state of Tennessee trying to get the issue out in front of everybody to know that the gas taxes that ultimately fund our transportation system, whether it be federal or state gas tax, are no longer sufficient to provide us with the adequacy and transportation infrastructure that we need.
Richardson says Highway 99, New Salem Road, is an example of a project that is ready to go to construction, but on hold due to lack of funding.
So until the funding issue gets resolved, then we are going to be waiting and waiting on that roadway, and with the growth that we have, it's only going to get worse. That is an immediate concern. The Department of Transportation has pretty much gone to a maintenance-only state, and as such, that will not support the growth, and the lack of transportation infrastructure to accommodate that growth is going to be a huge challenge, and it is really going to impinge on the quality of life, not only in Murfreesboro, but in the state, and especially this region as well.
Despite the challenges, Richardson credits his longevity, spanning 3 decades with the city, with a deep interest in transportation and what he calls an incredible team of employees.
The employees of the City of Murfreesboro are some of the best that I know around the state, and that made it real easy to work here, and conversely, that kind of is one of the things that makes it the hardest to leave, is that I would be leaving some of my colleagues and good friends that I've worked with a number of years.
The City of Murfreesboro has greatly benefited from Richardson's knowledge and dedication to transportation. Replacing his expertise will be a challenge. Mike Browning, City TV.